Hey guys, I have some Easter DIYs for you today, as well as my top spring decorating tip. So stick around to the end of the video because that's where I'm going to show you my favorite Easter DIY that I did this year. And I'm so happy that you're here. And so let's get started. So my top designer trick that you're going to see utilized quite a bit is bringing the outdoors inside. What do I mean by that? When you see those big beautiful branches in vases and things in these designer homes, those are actual clippings from trees. They're not fake or faux plants. And this really can be a way to get those very large statement pieces. This is a piece from my front yard, and look how pretty when you put that in water and it's blooming already. So it's really makes a nice large stunning piece, and it's so much life that you're bringing into your home, and it feels so sweet to see the flowers and the leaves start to bloom. Now, if you really don't want to bring in live plants, you could also bring in just some faux plants. I got this really nice olive tree from Amazon. This one is a nice realistic looking piece. I can link it in the description below for you, but some places in your home may not be suitable for a live tree. And the place that I would like to put this in my living room is not great. It's around the area where our couch is at, and it's kind of in a back corner, so not necessarily a nice place for a live plant. This, I would tell you too, when you take these out of the box, you want to make sure you shape them really well. Don't just leave those branches sticking straight out. Give them a nice bend to them. So this is the corner that I would like to place that tree. I have this really beautiful egg chair that I got from Lowe's. It's actually an outdoor piece, but we love it so much. We use it as a little reading nook with my children. I put it in this rattan basket and put it in that back corner, and it really adds a lot of warmth to the space. I have this beautiful rattan light that I got from IKEA, and then I went ahead and I framed that in actually with a cord cover in black, and I painted the cord black as well so that it looks more like a hanging wall lamp, you know, like a type of sconce instead of a cord cover. So that's why I blended those pieces together. Now, here's a couple of cute images of some setups that I did with some more clippings from outside bushes and things like that. Just doing pretty little things like putting eggs in a cloche that I got from the Dollar Tree. You see here some craft ideas that I did from previous year. You can see on my Instagram account if you'd like to see how to make those marble type eggs and things like that at rose.lamari if you want to go over there and check it out. So now I'm going to plant a couple of live trees. So I have this lemon tree that I got from Lowe's, and I got a beautiful little terracotta pot, and this I hope will bloom at some point. Wouldn't that be lovely to have in your kitchen, some lemons growing? I don't know exactly how long that will take to fruit. If you do, let me know, but I'm looking forward to that happening. And then I got this nice bush that I have in the backyard, some with pink flowers and just the florals on this. I got some trimmings from that as well, and I put that in a vase, put that in my kitchen, and I thought against the white, that stark contrast looks so pretty with those little pink flowers on there. So again, you know, bringing those clippings in from the outside, they really add so much, as well as bringing in live plants that you can plant. You know, that's really a nice aesthetic for your home. The olive tree that I got from Amazon I love, but I also purchased a real one from 1-800-Flowers. It's a pretty good company actually. I think that you should check them out if you're interested. I used them, and I think that if you have any problems, they replace the product, no issues. So for that, I thought it was good, and I thought that this adds a warmth to this area where it gets a lot of natural light, and I hope that it does well here. But you can see the difference with the live plant and the faux plants. There is some difference, so certainly bringing in that greenery just does a lot. So now I want to show you a couple of DIYs for your decor. I did do another kind of sweater pillow variation of a bunny pillow. So first I went into my Procreate and I sketched out a couple of bunny silhouettes that I wanted to try. Then I got finalized on that shape there, and if you'd like, I can actually put a link in the description below. If you'd like to use that free printout, you can do that as well. But after laying out the sweater, I decided I wanted it a little bit larger. So what you see here, I actually have it on my TV screen. And I took that piece of poster paper and I am tracing it out over the screen on that paper. So I don't have a projector, unfortunately, so this was the next best thing that I could come up with. If you have a smart TV, or we have a Roku, so we were just able to pop that picture up there and trace it out, and it made it the perfect size, because that sweater, as you saw, it fit the entire width of my poster paper there, so I could make a pretty large pillow. And then obviously once I have that traced out, I went ahead and I cut that out, and I am going to make a pillow with both the large bunny and the small bunny, so that I have kind of a mom and baby duo, which feels fitting for spring. And so just starting out with that, I have my sweater here flattened out. But what you actually want to make sure you do is turn your sweater inside out before you do this, where you pin the silhouette on, because that way you don't have to turn it the other way when you go to pin it. Now I made that mistake, and then I had to go back and turn it around so that I had the right sides facing out. So first things first, turn the sweater inside out. Lay your silhouettes on there, pin them in place, and then cut them out. Now I did cut them out a little bit larger so that I have space for the margin on my sewing machine. You can also hot glue these if you would like, but I chose to sew this one. Now you can see that I turned that little bunny around. Now on your sewing machine, if you do go that route, I just align that up with the edge of my sewing foot and just put a simple stitch the entire way around, pivoting around the corners. You put your needle down, you lift your foot, and then you pivot to get those edges. Now you leave a space open so that you can fill the bunnies. I did that near where I was going to attach the tail. And then I got some pom-poms for the bunnies. I actually had these fur hat type of pom-poms that I wanted to use, even though it's a little bit of a big tail on the little one. I still think that that's pretty sweet. And then I'm going to use the filling from this pillow. I actually had this pillow left over from a trip that we had done, where we had bought pillows on that trip, for like $5 pillows from Walmart, and they weren't being utilized, so I used the stuffing from them for my craft projects, because I think in comparison the stuffing from these cheap pillows is actually a little bit cheaper than the filling that I was seeing on Amazon. Now, one little tip when you're filling up your bunnies, obviously you see that I've turned that right side out now, but I utilize the bumpiness of that to kind of give a little bit of anatomy to the bunny. So generally when I do a pillow, I really try to pull that fluff apart and make it uniform so that you don't have bumps in your pillow. But in this instance, I actually like that because I am giving some structure to the ears, giving some structure to the face, putting a little bit less where the neck is at, so that you can see, a little bit of structure to the bunny, giving a little bit of the hind legs, things like that. So I think that adds to the overall look. And then after that, I just hand sew that bottom and attach that little tail by hand. And I have these cute little bunny sets, and I got a couple of pictures before my babies took off with them. My older baby took off with the big one, and the little one took off with the little one. So they're already in good use. So the second project here is just a really easy one. You can get these monogrammed eggs from the Dollar Tree, and I thought, instead of just having monogrammed eggs, I wanted to customize them a little bit. I put my son's names on them with a pencil, and then once I had the pencil tracing the way I wanted it, I just painted over the names. And then on the back of the eggs, I put all their birth memories on there, so time and date of birth, how much they weighed, and things like that. And then I thought, that's just such a nice way to remember each child, and instead of just having the monogrammed eggs, it just makes it a little bit more custom, a little bit more personal. You can easily do this as gifts for your family, for your grandchildren, for your children, for your friends' friends. So this is a really cheap and easy craft, but something that you can do that people are really going to appreciate. Now the next one, this is a really cool hack that I saw on the channel Home Talk. I add a little bit of a spin to that with a little bit more decoration to my candle, but what they did is they showed you how to make matching candles from your napkins. And so I had these beautiful little tea napkins, and I'm going to attach them here to this candle. How we're going to do that is literally by separating the napkin into its thinner portion, and then you lay it on the candle and you use a hair dryer to melt the wax, and the wax absorbs through the napkin and it basically adheres the napkin to the candle and into a waxy surface, and it looks like it as if it's always been there. So it's actually waxy on the outside after that. You can't feel the paper from the napkin at all. And it's such a cute way to decorate your table, because now you have matching pillar candles to your little tea napkins. And so to elevate this even further, what I did was to add a little bit of ribbon, and I took the stick pins that have the little pearl tops on them, and I used those to hold the ribbon in place. What that does though is adds a little pearl embellishment as well. Now be careful, I will show you here, if when you're putting that bottom pin in, if you do this, that you make sure that you don't have your hand near the bottom, just in case that pin would poke through the bottom. And you don't want to get your hand stuck by one of these straight pins. That would be really unfortunate spin on your nice crafting day. So see how that can come through if it's at an angle. Just be careful to keep your hands out of the way. You could do this in so many ways. If you were having a wedding, you could put ribbon around there and put like a little brooch on there, or just decorate it with like getting some of these diamond pins that you've seen. I mean, you can really embellish those things, and it would just be beautiful for any tea party setup that you have. This is going to be my little birthday tea party setup. I'm an April baby, so I have this beautiful gold tea and pink vintage set here. The silverware I got flatware from Aldi's. They're there right now, so if you like that, head to Aldi's and get yourself a set. And the little vintage pink bowl sets are from my grandma, so it's just such a sweet setup here for me, and excited for our little tea party there. Now the last craft, and this is my favorite, and that's because I'm just a sucker for nostalgia, and I definitely, when I'm growing up, had my special Easter basket, and I have it still to this day. And so I wanted to do something similar for my children, and I got these off of Amazon. They're a cloth basket, and the only thing was the way they had sewn them, the ears were pointing down and you really couldn't make them stay up. And I also wanted to add the names of my children to the ears of these. So this is my first time trying embroidery, so I'm sure experts out there are going to be like, what is she doing? But I was trying to use this hoop to add a little bit of stability that I already had, so I didn't want to go out and buy a smaller hoop, which would have been more appropriate for the size of this ear. But it did work enough for me to get the project done. But for you, trying to get an embroidery hoop that is the right size, I'm pretty sure is going to make your project a little bit easier. But like I said, for me, this is my first time doing this, and I had this on hand and I made it work. I got this embroidery stitch off of Amazon, and I just was so excited. Look at all the beautiful colors. It just looks so inviting, doesn't it? It just says, do something, craft with me. So I picked out a nice matching complement color, and I'm going to try my hand at stitching their names on these bunny ears. And it actually took me, I think, about, I would say, about 40 inches of embroidery thread there, and I just tied the end off, and I traced their names out on the ear first with a little bit of chalk, just to get an idea of how I would like it to look. I did block lettering for their names because they're so young. Young children are not going to be able to read cursive writing very well, and so I wanted to make it so that they would be able to recognize their names as well. Obviously not my younger baby, but my older child will be able to recognize that. And then I just used this permanent marker to kind of use the grid pattern that was on there to give me somewhat of a guideline, just in case that chalk rubbed off a little bit, so that I would have all the letters in the same lineup. Now using the green thread, you can see here I'm just going back and forth, and that's why I had used the seam ripper to separate the front and the back, because I wanted the just in case the back got very messy, it wouldn't matter because I was going to sew them together again. I think for some people who are very good at embroidery, the back looks just as nice as the front, so this doesn't matter. But you know, I have never done it before, so that should tell you something there too. I've never done it before, so this is absolutely something that you can do as well. So you can do this project, no problem. You know, this is it's going to turn out for you, and it's something that you're going to have as a memory. Your children are going to have as a memory, and they're going to appreciate that. Trust me. Like I said, I still have my Easter basket that I grew up with, and you know, it's something special that you have and you remember, and it gives you fond memories. And I hope that my sons will also feel fond memories when they see these baskets. Now, I think that this project here is something that you could also make as a gift for people, you know, again, for your grandchildren or for other people's children. This is certainly not limited. You don't have to do block lettering. You can do nice script lettering if you are feeling up for the challenge. But this certainly is a sweet little idea. I wanted to tell you one other tip that I forgot to mention. You saw when I was using the thread remover there, the seam ripper. Now it has a pointy end, and it has like the red bulb on it. That's actually the side that you want to place underneath so that you don't tear your fabric. That's the point of that. So that was a little tip that I found out this project as well. And just I want to share with you so that maybe I can prevent you from putting a hole in your fabric. And placed it on the sewing machine, put that ear back down, and it looked so sweet. Now, the other problem I was telling you about, remember that the ears, because of the way that the manufacturer had sewn on the ears, they pointed down into the basket. And the same with the handle. None of that was stuck up very well. So I just put in a little bit of that embroidery stitch on the edges, just by putting a single stitch in and tying a knot in that. And that made everything stick straight up in the air, and that just worked out perfectly. So just a single stitch through everything. Be careful when you're using a needle like that, because it's hard to push through. If you can, cover your thumb with a thimble to protect it, that's perfect. I ended up using my fingernail because I just couldn't get it with the thimble, but just be careful. You don't want to hurt your finger there. But look how these turned out. They're so cute. I can't wait to fill them with all the treats and books and such for Easter, and see how excited they're going to be for their Easter bunny coming here in a couple of weeks, and to celebrate such a precious time of the year, spiritually for a lot of people as well. So I hope that you enjoyed those tips. I hope that you enjoyed my craft ideas for today, and I hope that you're enjoying spring. And if you try these out, let me know. Rose.Lamare Instagram. I'll see you next time, friends.